Mushrooms were really, a way for us to get into food, growing food. We didn't have land access, which a lot of urban farmers don't today. A lot of young farmers don't. We had a warehouse, and we knew that we wanted to grow food that was high in nutrition, that provided a lot of benefits for the environment, that was a high value food, and mushrooms really fit the bill. And then once we actually started doing it, we just realized how much there were benefits, for health, for the environment, and people really loved to learn about them a lot. So it grew even once we got started. It grew beyond what we knew it would.
In this episode of More Than Farming, we will be featuring a business in Prince George's County, Maryland that grows unique mushrooms, not in the forest, but indoors.
Hi, I'm Liz Robinson. I'm the COO and co-owner of the Garden International.
I'm Corey Moore, the CEO and co-owner of the Garden International.
The mushrooms were really a way, again, for us to provide high nutrition to our community. It's not something that you see a lot. It does take some special skills, some special equipment, some knowledge. So while you may be able to go out and forage mushrooms, even that takes a little bit of skill itself to know what you're doing. But growing them definitely takes a unique individual and a unique space. And we just felt like we were the right ones.
It was very important to us once we got into mushrooms and being in fitness and wellness for a long period of time. We left some things out off the table that we could have gave to our clients, as far as vegetarian clients, as far as protein, sustaining protein and muscle building. We had a limited mindset on how we approach what we see in the grocery store, to re-educate ourselves on a great food source, better than, not saying better than meat, a great meat replacement from time to time. It's not always about a vegetarian. It's also about sometimes us meat eaters. We like to mix things up, give the body a break in the digestive system.
As Corey stated, today, many people are eating mushrooms for their health benefits. Some 2,000 mushroom species are believed to be edible. And mushrooms have been used for healing and medicine in Asian societies for hundreds of years. Scientists today are studying whether certain mushrooms can strengthen our immune systems and if particular mushrooms can be used in the treatment of cancer. Located in an industrial park in Beltsville, Maryland, we caught Liz and Corey giving a tour of their indoor mushroom farm to a group of Prince George's County gardeners.
Soy farmers, for example, they shell their soybeans, and the exterior would normally be like an agricultural waste product. But it actually goes into the commodities market and gets dried and pelletized, because that can be animal feed, it can be different things. So the sawdust from oak trees and the shells from the soybeans get pelletized into these dried products, and then that becomes what the mycelium likes to eat.
As Liz stated, they grow their mushrooms in a substrate mixture made from two organic materials: sawdust from oak trees and hulls from soybeans. This organic mixture is what feeds the mycelium. Mycelium is the root-like structure of the mushroom. It consists of a mass of branching thread-like filaments. As the mushroom spores grow, they create a network of white roots, much like a big plate of spaghetti. That network of tiny roots is the mycelium.
The roots of mushrooms is what lives under the ground. That's the mycelium, the root structure that connects all the plants and the trees, and it captures CO2 and returns it to the soil. It breaks down organic matter into soil. It's just so many benefits for the earth. It's literally the glue that holds everything on earth together is that mycelium.
Corey showed us the First Steps Garden International uses to grow their mushrooms indoors. First, while in the sterilization tent, he placed into a special sanitized growing bag the organic substrate of pelletized sawdust and soybean hulls. Then Corey pours mushroom spores into the organic substrate. Spores can be thought of as mushroom seeds, but they are not the same thing. Corey heat seals the growing bag. Then he rotates the mixture so the mushroom spores are more evenly dispersed throughout the growing bag. At Garden International, they grow their mushrooms in 4 temperature-controlled tents. After Corey showed us the first steps involved in growing mushroom indoors, he then explained what happens in the incubation tent. Depending on the mushroom variety, incubation or the mycelium growth can take from 2 to 6 weeks.
So depending on the strand, so some of them can take up to 7 to 10 days. Sometimes some of them can, like chestnuts, takes 3. We like to let it sit for over 6 weeks or more. So the better it is. Sometimes if you try to, cut the bags and put them in the harvest tents too quick, sometimes it's not done its thing. So it's trial and error when you're dealing in nature, But yeah, you can see the difference. This was just done a couple of days or 2 ago. The spores is already doing this thing.
The latter stage of the mushroom's growth process is known as fruiting. After living and growing underground, changes in temperature, light, and humidity trigger the cap and stem of the mushrooms to poke out of the ground.
So fruiting is introducing the mushroom's mycelium. The mycelium is the roots of the mushrooms. We introduce the mushroom mycelium to the proper conditions for fruiting. That means a humid environment, somewhere around 90%, the right light. These are full spectrum LED lights. They need a fresh air exchange. We've got some carbon filtration in here that brings in fresh air. And the right temperatures. We keep our warehouse around 68 degrees, which is a good midpoint for most of these mushrooms. And the majority of these take anywhere from 5 days to 3 weeks to grow based on the type of mushroom. Here we've got some pink oysters. These white ones are elm oysters. We've got lion's mane up here. We've got some king blues. We've got some golden oysters down there.
With indoor mushroom farming, fruiting occurs when the grow bags get hard from mycelium growth. Tiny slits are cut into the grow bags, and the mushrooms begin to bloom. Liz also explained why they hooked up cameras in the fruiting tents.
Yeah, we recently had these cameras installed for multi-purposes. One thing that we're going to be doing is obviously watching and making sure that the mushrooms are growing effectively. It'll let us know when they're ready to harvest. Some of these mushrooms grow really fast. They may be almost ready and then 3 hours later be over ready. So this will help us make sure that we're harvesting right at the exact time. And we're also going to be integrating some AI to basically track metrics and build out a system that will allow growers, ourselves included, to know when to start certain processes. For example, if you have 100 pounds of mushrooms that you need to deliver in 3 weeks, the metrics will tell you exactly when you need to get the process started so that you harvest right on time. You don't want to be too late, and you also don't want to be too early because you want your mushrooms to be as fresh as possible. So having the data is really, really important for that process.
As Liz stated, understanding sciences such as botany, chemistry, and engineering has enabled her and Corey to build a successful mushroom business. And they take time to share this knowledge with students and educators in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia.
I just said, to give credit, the teachers were the ones that really noticed that this would be good activity for the school. So we had these grow your own mushroom kits that we started selling. Some teachers noticed, hey, I want to do this with the kids, and the kids just lit up. I mean, anytime kids get the opportunity to care for something, be it, a classroom pet or a plant, or in this case, mushrooms, they just light up. They learn so much hands-on. So things like the role in the environment that mushrooms play, the carbon capturing element, and soil health, and bacteria, fungi, nutrition, even math. As the kids were growing the mushrooms, they were using rulers to measure every day how much the mushrooms were growing, and they were able to chart that growth. And then, just found different ways, whether it even be incorporating arts, like they drew the mushrooms. They made their own Franken mushrooms, where they would learn about the different parts of the mushrooms, be it the gills or the stem or the mycelium, and they would draw those in their own way to reinforce the different parts of the mushrooms. So there's a lot to learn, and the kids really took to it.
In addition to school presentations to youth, Liz and Corey also educate adults about their unique mushroom varieties when selling at local farmers markets. Their business and marketing skills also contributes to making the Garden International successful.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different skills. Anytime you're an entrepreneur, you have to know a little bit about a lot of different things. And we were blessed to both have some business experience prior to this, and both marketing and accounting, and all the different things that you need to be an entrepreneur. But as far as marketing goes, Corey comes from corporate franchising and fitness and wellness, and we've had products since 2018. So anytime you're marketing, it's really about communicating your value proposition and your message, your why, so that's the biggest thing, is understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and then finding an effective way to communicate that to your audience.
With quality.
Yeah. And truth.
Yeah. Definitely that. Definitely that.
You got some golden oyster, some pink oyster, lion's mane, blue oyster, elm, and there's some Italian under there too.